Thomas and the Lion. One day the Fat Controller came to Tinmouth Sheds. He came to see Thomas. "Thomas," he said, "I need you to go to the docks and collect a special cargo. It's the Lion of Sodor. I need you to take it straight to Knapford Station." Thomas was excited. "Yes, sir," he smiled happily. But then a thought struck him. He had never heard of the Lion of Sodor. Before he could ask the Fat Controller what the Lion of Sodor was, he had gone. "Bother," said Thomas. "I'll find out from another engine." And Thomas puffed out of Tinmouth Sheds to Brendam Docks. When Thomas arrived at Brendam Docks, Cranky the Crane was unloading the cargo. Thomas puffed towards him. "Good morning, Cranky," he smiled. "Is my cargo ready?" "All ready, Thomas," called Cranky. "Here it is. Be very careful and don't be silly with it." "I won't," said Thomas. Cranky lowered the cargo onto the flatbed. Then Thomas had a thought. "Cranky, do you know what the Lion of Sodor is?" Cranky scoffed. "No, I don't. I've never heard of such thing. The Lion of Sodor is all new to me. I've never once known what it was." Thomas was cross. "I was only asking. I'll go and find out from a more friendlier friend." And Thomas set off before Cranky could say anything. He was very surprised by what Thomas had said. As Thomas puffed along the line, he passed Duck at a water tower. Thomas stopped with Duck. Duck was pleased to see him. "Hello, Thomas. What are you carrying?" Thomas told Duck all about the Lion of Sodor, that he was delivering it to Knapford Station. "Bust my buffers, that's a very exciting job." "Duck," said Thomas, "do you know what the Lion of Sodor is?" Duck laughed. "Ha ha ha! You don't know what the Lion of Sodor is? Ha ha ha!" Thomas was surprised. "I'm only asking. Can you please tell me what it is?" Duck laughed and laughed. "You don't know what the Lion of Sodor is? You must have been well behind the times, Thomas." And Duck guffled away loudly, leaving Thomas very cross. Before Thomas could let out a wheesh of steam, Oliver puffed alongside. Oliver was surprised to see Thomas looking cross. "What's wrong, Thomas?" "The Lion of Sodor is what I'm carrying on my flatbed. I asked Duck what it was, but he laughed at me." "Do you know what it is, Oliver?" Oliver frowned. "I'm afraid not, Thomas," said Oliver. "I've never heard of the Lion of Sodor." Thomas felt down. "Don't worry, Thomas," said Oliver. "I'll come to Knapford Station with you as soon as I've delivered my train." And Oliver set off with his train of coal trucks. Thomas wondered why no one had ever heard of the Lion of Sodor. "Maybe I'll ask another engine who knows," he thought to himself as he set off again. Thomas passed a bus stop. Bertie was picking up passengers. Thomas whooshed past him, blowing his whistle cheerfully. As soon as everyone was on board, Bertie raced after Thomas. "Beep, beep," he tooted happily. "Wait for me, Thomas." Thomas heard Bertie. Bertie raced alongside. "Want to race, Thomas?" he asked. "Sorry, Bertie, I'm afraid I can't. I have to deliver the Lion of Sodor to Knapford Station. Maybe another time." "The Lion of Sodor? Wow, that is exciting! I've always waited for the Lion of Sodor to come home." Thomas gasped. "You've heard of the Lion of Sodor?" he asked. "What is it?" "You don't know?" Bertie started to chuckle. "Everyone knows what the Lion of Sodor is." "I don't, Bertie. So what is it?" Bertie laughed so much he couldn't barely talk, and he raced off in the other direction. Now Thomas was very cross. "How can everyone laugh at me just because I don't know what the Lion of Sodor is? It's unfair." Thomas hoped someone would tell him what the line of Sodor was. Soon he passed under a bridge and came towards a signal. Edward was waiting. He was on his way to Knapford Station too. Edward was surprised to see Thomas looking upset. "Hello, Thomas. What's the matter?" Thomas told Edward about his cargo, and that everyone kept laughing at him just because he didn't know what the line of Sodor was. Edward felt sorry for his friend. "Don't worry, Thomas," said Edward. "Not everyone knows what the line of Sodor is." Thomas looked at his old friend. "Do you know what the line of Sodor is, Edward?" he asked. Edward smiled. "Yes, I do, Thomas." Edward didn't laugh one bit. "What is it?" "Why don't you ask the Fat Controller, Thomas? He knows more about it than I do. He'll explain it to all of us if you ask him nicely." Thomas smiled. "I think I'll do that, Edward. I wanted to ask him what it was this morning, but he left before I could ask." "Come on, Thomas," said Edward. "Let's go to Knapford Station and ask the Fat Controller himself." So the two friends puffed off to Knapford Station together. They soon arrived at Knapford Station with the special crate. The Fat Controller was waiting. "Thank you, Thomas. Please join your friends now, and you will all see the special line of Sodor." "Yes, sir," said Thomas. As soon as he was uncoupled, Thomas went to join his friends. The workmen opened the crate very carefully. They heaved, until with a mighty crack, the crate fell open, and there, standing on the flatbed, was the line of Sodor. Thomas was surprised. He could see that the line of Sodor was a statue. "What a magnificent statue! The line of Sodor will always be remembered here on Sodor." Edward looked at his friend. "Go on, Thomas, ask him." Thomas knew what Edward was trying to say, so he puffed forward and took a deep breath. "Excuse me, sir," he asked. "Please don't laugh at me for asking you this." The Fat Controller looked at Thomas. "What is the line of Sodor?" Thomas asked. Gordon, Henry and James laughed and laughed. "Silence!" boomed the Fat Controller. "Thomas, why would I laugh at you for asking that question?" Thomas told the Fat Controller all about his day. Every time he kept asking what the line of Sodor was, they kept laughing at him. Duck was red in the face. He felt embarrassed. "Don't worry, Thomas. I'll tell you what the line of Sodor is." "Oh, sir, please tell us." Oliver smiled happily. So the Fat Controller told everyone the story. The line of Sodor was a very brave lion. He rescued his cubs from a storm. The lion wanted to do something to help his cubs, so he braved the mighty storm to rescue his cubs so they wouldn't get wet anymore. He rescued them and escorted one by one safely back to their home. The cubs were happy in their home, and the line of Sodor was a true hero. Thomas and Oliver were very impressed. "That sounds exciting," said Thomas. "Maybe we can go and see the line of Sodor," said Oliver. "I'm afraid not, Oliver," said the Fat Controller. "The line of Sodor was so popular, everyone wanted to see it. The trouble was, not everyone could make it to Sodor back then, so he was shipped over to the mainland. He has been having fun there, and has made home at the London Zoo. He will always be remembered here on Sodor." "Do you think he'll come back one day?" Duck asked. "One day, Duck. Maybe one day." Thomas and Oliver smiled. They were sure that one day the line of Sodor would come home. Duck looked at his friend Thomas. "I'm sorry I laughed at you earlier today. I should have known better than to laugh at someone who didn't know what the line of Sodor was." "That's all right, Duck," said Thomas. "I'm just happy to know what the Lion of Sodor was. Thank you for telling us the Lion of Sodor, sir." All the engines were very pleased to have heard this story, and they hoped that one day the Lion of Sodor will come back to Sodor.